What's up, everybody? Welcome to S.W.A.T MMA, where we're smoking weed and we're talking mixed martial arts. This is episode number 123. I'm Jared, here with Paul.
What up?
Coming to you from Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world. Today, we're going to be smoking and talking all about the UFC 271, which has Israel Adesanya defending his middleweight title against former champion Robert Whittaker. Also, co-main events pretty good. Derrick Lewis versus Tuivasa, and this UFC pay-per-view also features the retirement fight of women's MMA pioneer Roxanne Modafari. Before we dive into the combat sports, though, you know what time it is. Grab your weed, fire it up, and let's get into the weed of the week.
Smoke weed every day.
Breaking out the Blue Dream Haze, folks, which I'm about to fire up right here. Dude, this is one of the best smelling, this lighter's no good. It's one of the best smelling herbs that we get on the show on a fairly regular basis, in my opinion. Yeah. I really like it. The Blue Dream aroma really takes over. Mm-hmm. It is a sativa dominant hybrid. It is regular Blue Dream crossed with Super Silver Haze. So, very sativa dominant. This joint I made a little too tight. Man, I had trouble with this fucking joint today.
It's pretty funny. It'll be alright.
But we break down the rest of the genetics, which I like to do. That Blue Dream is, of course, a cross of blueberry and original haze. Blueberry's purple tie crossed with regular tie. And the Super Silver Haze is one of my favorite strains, period. It's harder and harder to find the SSH in dispensaries around here, and I never see weed dealers with it. But that is skunk crossed with Northern Light crossed with haze once again. So Blue Dream Haze has got the backbone of haze coming through on both sides, which original haze is like sometimes called Haze OG or just plain haze. And it's a mix of 3 landrace strains like Colombian, Mexican, and Thai, I do believe. One of the OG sativas.
Yeah, it's always one of my favorites we have on the show for sure.
It's fucking tasty, bro. And what do we have in the PAX 3 over there, my friend?
Oh, we got some guava, shatter, and some bananas Foster.
We got the bananas Foster. I liked that last week when we had that.
Yeah.
What did you load up in there this time? Is that the guava or was that the...
I did a little mixture of both. You know, I had a little bit left of each, and I was like, you know what? Let's just fucking throw just a little bomb-ass terpy party in the inside of the pack.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that had me coughing right before we started the show.
It should have hit you.
It was very tasty. I hope you're smoking on something delicious out there as well, folks. Let's go ahead and dive into some combat sports here. You know, this is the UFC's first big event of the year, but we did have Sean Strickland, Jack Hermanson fight night last week, which we should at least touch on, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We saw Sean Strickland get a bizarrely split decision in a fight that wasn't super exciting, but a fight that he handily won every round in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, largely behind the strength of his jab.
Mm-hmm. Stayed behind the jab. Never really let Jack get started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not at all.
All 5 rounds.
This is the outcome I was hoping for because I'd like to see Strickland get a title shot, but he's not going to jump over the Cannoneer Brunson fight with that performance. And I think he was quick to admit that afterwards.
Yeah.
I think even more...
I think a finish would have got him there, but I don't think that...
Yeah, if he came out and made a big statement, you know.
Yeah.
Sadly, the more interesting topic to me coming out of that fight is how on earth did one judge give that fight to Jack Hermanson in a split decision here?
Yeah, made no sense. I think it was Sal D'Amato or something like
that. I don't understand how any reasonable person could look at that and give him the entire fight. I don't know how you could really give him much of a round.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And I'm a fan of Jack's. We've met the guy. He's super nice. He's a talented
good fighter too. It's just...
This isn't a diss.
It was all freaking Strickland the whole time. It was him just just like I said before. There was just never a time where I thought Hermanson got started. Maybe you could give him 1 round, but I don't think there was any way he won 3 rounds of that fight.
No, that's not even in the converse. I don't think Jack would tell you he won 3 rounds in that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Would you crack that?
Yeah.
I don't. Are we ever going to get accountability on these judging? And I mean, any kind of accountability. Can you just please come explain how you thought that Jack won 3 of those rounds? Like, you have to have some type of reasoning behind your thought pattern here.
Mhm.
But there's nothing. It's nothing, and that's frustrating. Just because boxing doesn't hold people accountable doesn't mean us in the mixed martial arts have to copy that aspect of it too. There's actually no rule here. It's boxing is a completely different sport. We might have adopted that scoring system, but we don't have to adopt their lack of accountability, do we?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
I mean, I know why there's a referee problem. Because they don't pay referees shit. And you have to start like way down at the bottom where they don't pay you anything.
Yeah.
You're a volunteer, and you got to work your way up to the UFC where they're really, these are
Still
not
paying
getting paid. Like, I'm certain all but the top tier guys have other jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and maybe even them as well. Or they're doing something to get cash. Like Herb Dean's out there with a podcast or some shit making money, bro. Trust me.
Yeah.
We get nothing. So, until that gets changed, we'll get weird, bizarre scores like that. But there's not a lot else to talk about on there. I think Strickland's going to have to do something else to get a title shot. Unless somebody gets injured.
Yeah.
Something unusual like that. Despite his 5-fight win streak. Now 6, right?
Yeah. I think it's going to take 1 more.
Well, let's get to the big pay-per-view event of the year, which, dude, before we even get into the fights, I'm confused.
I am too.
And maybe you can explain it to me. And maybe some of our listeners are confused as well. Because it seems to me that this upcoming weekend, the first of the UFC's mighty pay-per-view schedule, should be quite the event, shouldn't it, Paul? I mean, this should be where the UFC is looking to make a splash in the new year.
Yeah.
They've got one of their marquee guys at top, Israel Adesanya.
Yeah. That's like your number 1 pay-per-view seller.
But I keep hearing about some other sporting event that's overshadowing it, possibly. What is occurring?
Oh, yeah, it's the fucking Super Bowl weekend. What are we doing? Why on earth would you schedule someone like Israel Adesanya on Super Bowl weekend?
Is that how out of touch they are after a price hike to $75 for a pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Did they think, that's what people are going to do the night before the Super Bowl is spend $75 to watch your shit?
No. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's why there's no boxing coming up. There's no major other sports going on competing with the Super Bowl.
Why would you ever compete with the Super Bowl? Makes no sense to me.
There isn't any other MMA organizations with fights.
Nope.
So, I don't know. Dana and company don't care about that type of thing so much anymore because of the guaranteed minimums they get from the ESPN deal, apparently. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me, though.
Unless they're just so out of touch that they think that that's just going to be some massive blockbuster and take advantage of the people already there or something. I mean, the average person are you really going to shell out $75 on top of what you already spent for Super Bowl weekend?
Yeah. Most people, that's the thing is like, sure, like, it's just no way. There's just no way someone's going to, like, maybe I will, but like, the normal person's not going to party on Saturday night, watch this fight, wake up Sunday morning, be ready to party on Super Bowl Sunday. Nah, it's not happening. Plus, with the hefty increase in price, man, it's like, goddamn, throwing 2 parties, 2 nights, like people can like. And what's going on in the world right now? Are they really that dumb? Like, what's going on?
Y'all are absolutely crazy with that price, right? I can't wrap my head around it. $75 for fucking UFC events that at least you used to be able to say the event was stacked top to bottom. You know what I mean?
This one's pretty good. Don't get me wrong, but like,
it's good in comparison to today's cards.
Yeah.
This is not good in comparison to when the UFC put on a pay-per-view a month and loaded it with all of their fucking talent. There's nobody of note on here. The biggest names on here, Derrick Lewis, outside of the champion. that resonate with the general public? Derrick Lewis.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, if you're a hardcore, this is a sick ass card.
It's I don't know. Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo. Bobby Green. Bobby Green has been on a downward spiral.
Yeah, but he's an exciting guy to watch.
For a pay-per-view? For $75?
Yeah,
you get Bobby Green? I'm not trying to diss Bobby Green. Yeah. I'm just saying you tend to think you would want your fighters that can... Like, he's not getting anywhere near a title shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Like, I don't even think he's ranked anymore, is he?
No, he's not.
He's an exciting fighter to watch, which is why he's perfect for a fight night card.
Yeah, exactly.
You could probably headline a fight night card. But I don't... For $75, that's one of the 5 fights you're giving me?
Yeah, that's true.
That's rough.
It's pretty rough.
Rough, dude.
It's starting to look like boxing, man.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to diss Kyler Phillips and Marcelo Rojo either. I'm just saying, I bet we could go out on the Las Vegas Strip right now and stop 1,000 people and ask them if they know those names. And they're going to be like, no. Is that a guy I went to school with?
Yeah.
Is that maybe? I think I may have a coworker named Marcelo.
Yeah, something like that.
And I'm not dissing. I'm just saying $75, bro. That's what you're rocking. You should have put Roxanne on the fucking pay-per-view. We should have Andrei Arlovsky on the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Even Alex Perez and Matt Snell is 2 top 5 guys.
Alex Perez and Matt Snell.
2 top 5 guys that should be on the top of pay-per-view. I think they're number 2 and 5 in the division.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't understand why Roxanne is not there out of respect to what she's contributed to the sport and the fact it's her last fight. Or Alex Perez and Matt Snell, exactly.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to me. But that's the world we live in with the UFC. You and I know we're still going to watch this card because that's what we do.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And we're not slighting any of the fighters on here. This is a slight towards the UFC matchmakers.
Yeah, they're not giving these guys by doing this, they're not giving these guys a platform to become bigger either. They're actually doing the complete opposite. Because you're putting them on this like stage where you're already competing with the biggest sporting event in America every single fucking year. I don't care who you are. Like, even if you don't watch football, you still watch the Super Bowl because there's commercials, there's fucking all the shit that comes with the Super Bowl. Like, it's just what is watched. You know what I mean? And that's just really dumb of the UFC to do this. But I like the card.
'Tis what it is. What's your favorite fight you want to talk about on this card as we dive into a closer look at UFC?
Take it all the way down, actually. So this is what pisses me off, too. These are 2 real good guys that I don't even think they're on the regular prelims. I think they're on the Fight Pass prelims. It's Renato Moicano taking on Alex Hernandez, which, like, both those guys.
Dude, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty fucking good fight to be on the ESPN preliminary card. Not even the real prelims, like the first 4.
Yeah, I'm not even seeing it. We're looking at the fight card here.
Yeah, it's on the early Fight Pass card. The early Fight Pass prelims. I'm like, what the fuck?
Man.
That's a good fight. I think that's gonna be a pretty good. To be taking I think Moicano wins. I like both these guys better at lightweight. I know they've kind of bounced around because they've had some ups and downs, but still think
I
they
like
can get
Hernandez.
on track.
I know more about him. I like him better at lightweight as well. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about Roxanne Modafari for a minute. You know, she's came on a show a couple of weeks ago to talk about her retirement and some more. And this is a big fight for her, but she's not got an easy out against Casey O'Neill. I guess you could say this is as the UFC likes to say, there's a main event of the prelims, so I guess this is the co-main event of the prelims in their eyes.
Yeah.
Which, with that price tag, there might be more eyeballs actually on the ESPN2 preliminaries, in my opinion, than the pay-per-view card. So, Casey, undefeated. Roxanne been in some tough scraps lately. Won some, lost some in each of them.
Yeah. What a way it would be to go out for Roxanne.
I really hope that's how it is.
Yeah, just to knock her off.
Snipe off another little contender.
Yeah. It's kind of last couple of years here, that's what Roxanne's been doing. Although she's had some rough ones, she's also like, the Macy Barber fight and, like that.
She doesn't take easy fights.
No. She has all
She
tough,
wants to
tough
test
fights.
herself against the toughest opponents available. So I mean, for her retirement fight, she's taking on somebody much younger and undefeated.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to do that. Like, but she chooses to test herself against the best, which is incredibly, incredibly awesome. And I really hope that she wins this fight.
Yeah, me too.
You know, it's tough to say. Casey's very, very strong, it would appear.
Yeah.
But Roxanne has gone out and done it before, and she could go out and do it again.
Uh-huh.
Because with her, I feel that this is it.
Yeah.
She's not going to go elsewhere. She might do some jiu-jitsu competition or something like that. But,
Yeah.
you know, we asked her point blank that this is it. There's no Bellator. There's no
Yeah.
BKFC. There's
Yeah.
none of that noise.
Uh-huh. So,
You
yeah,
know,
it would
she's
be
got
great to see her
19
go
plus
out on
years.
it. Yep.
I know it's getting noisy, right?
Uh,
Well, how about Andre Arlovsky against Jared Bandera? Bandera. I don't even know who this cat is. We share the same first name.
how
That's all
dare
I
you?
know.
That's attack on all Jared's.
I know, well, I spell mine better. He has that whack ass spell. So.
Yeah, I kind of am worried about Andre here because I feel kind of every time the UFC has a prospect, they give him to Andre, and he is the decider on whether they're a prospect or not.
And honestly, dude, I'm getting a little bit tired of seeing Andre in these positions. I mean, how old was that kid when Andre
Dude,
started
when
fighting?
Andre stepped in the octagon for the first time, that kid was 8.5 years old. That just shows like the difference
So,
there in age.
Yeah, Arlovsky was stepping into a cage, and that kid was going to first grade.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they're fighting. I mean, respect to Arlovsky for taking it and always stepping up to the plate. And he wins some of these, you
Yeah.
know, but I'm just a little tired of it personally.
Yeah.
He's the literal definition of a gatekeeper to, not even a gatekeeper to like the top 10 or a title shot. He's like the gatekeeper to getting a better fight.
Yeah, true.
It's fucked up.
So one fight I do want to talk about a little bit for a second is I do want to talk about the Alex Perez versus Matt Snell fight. So
Yeah, that's solid, bro.
in a weight class like flyweight where, you know, we're about to have two guys run it a fourth time because we don't have any prospects. It's good to see like fights like this where you get like a number 4 versus number 9. 4 being Perez and 9 being Snell going into this. And I mean, it is kind of strange though because Alex Perez hasn't fought since 2000. I think I want to say like the end of 2019 when he lost to Joseph Benavidez, which is so long ago.
Yeah.
Or that even might have been 2018 because that was before he fought Figueiredo. So that might have even been 2018. I don't know. But long time layoff for Perez after his first pro loss, and then Matt Snell coming off a couple good wins. Or well, no, he lost his last fight, but he had a couple good wins before that. So both guys kind of have to get back on track and get their name back into the mix here.
I always like Matt Snell. He's got a lot of talent. I knew him even before he was on The Ultimate Fighter. He was a feature in an MTV documentary. I think it was MTV at the time. And he's got a lot of talent, man. I'd like to see him get the win here and get himself a contender shot.
Yeah.
You know, if number 9 beats number 4 in theory, then number 9 has then earned the right to fight number 1 or number 2 or maybe even number 3 for a title shot. You know, so 2 wins here and we could have some fresh blood.
Yeah.
But he's got his hands full. I mean, Perez, we haven't seen him for a long time, but last time we saw him, you know, he's overall a pretty solid fighter.
Yeah. It's pretty damn good, actually.
He's the one that comes out in the mask and everything, right? Am I thinking the right Perez?
Yeah.
Yeah. God, it's been forever since we've seen him.
He hasn't seen him in a while.
Jesus, son.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another good one. But although you're not the biggest fan, I know that it's not that you're the biggest fan, but you understand that it's on the main card. But I do like that first fight off the main card between Bobby Green and Narsar Harkwa.
Dude, it's a good fight. It's not the fight itself I have an issue with. It's this $75 price tag.
Yeah.
And then you're giving me not. It sounds bad.
It used to be all title. I know what you mean. Like there used to be like the cards would have like a lot more title eliminators and you know stuff.
Yeah,
fights
top
of
10 fighters.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the pay-per-view of an event where you're now charging that kind of money,
And you're battling against the Super Bowl. You better stack your card if you're expecting
you need
people
to have
pick
ranked
that over.
fighters
Yeah.
in all of your fights
Yeah.
in the main card, in my opinion. They
Or
all
you're
need to
just
be
waving the
ranked
white flag.
fighters, and they need to have consequences. There's
Yeah.
no consequences here.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good fight, but yeah, there is not a
So-
lot of consequences here.
It's nitpicking, I know, and it sounds like I'm shitting all over these guys. I'm not.
Yeah.
I respect Bobby Green. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
I like watching him. I'm going to enjoy the fight. It's not like Bobby's charging me the $75. You don't even get none of that money. It's bullshit.
I like Bobby in this fight, though. I think he
Yeah,
pulls
I
it
like
off.
him there too. I don't know much about.
That's Mini Gaslam.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know much about him outside these mini gas for him. I've seen a fight, but what about the Kyler Phillips Rojo fight? I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
pretty good
These are
fight.
good. Couple of solid bantamweights.
Mm-hmm. Kyler Phillips he's like pretty much evolves in front of our eyes every fight. I feel like
Yeah, he has.
he just continuously adds like more and more to his game. I like him here.
Man, this weed is good. It's fucking good weed. I like him here as well. But now we got 3 fights left on the main card that really are fights of consequence here.
Yeah.
The Jared Cannoneer versus Derrick Brunson middleweight bout does have ramifications for the division.
Yeah.
It is in need of, a contender. Someone needs to step up a bit that we haven't seen Israel Adesanya fight.
That's
There's
the
an
problem,
opportunity.
though. Here is if Derrick Brunson wins this fight, we do get someone who Adesanya's already fought and knocked out pretty easily.
I mean, honestly, that's the sole reason that I'm rooting for.
I just want.
Jared
I like
Cannoneer.
Cannoneer actually.
I like Cannoneer as well.
He's a tough guy.
He is at that, and he's he's comes down from a heavier division.
He was a heavyweight at one point in his career.
Twice. Yeah, he comes down from 2 heavier divisions, and I think he packs a lot of that power.
Yeah.
Still, it's kind of like Volkanovski in a way.
Uh-huh.
You just with his rugby background, he used to
Yeah.
be 200 pounds and stuff. You're just strong in a different way
Yeah.
than somebody who maybe was like a 170er and came up.
That's what's crazy too is I've seen Jared Cannoneer talk about moving to 170 also because he walks around at like 183 now.
This is ridiculous.
Like Jesus.
This guy's got to
uh,
be the most disciplined eater.
Oh yeah. Or he's just an absolute savage in the gym.
Yeah, that could be as well.
I don't know. This is a tough fight for me because it's really a striker versus grappler situation when you talk about these two guys.
Yeah.
I think Cannoneer could pull it off, but I think it's going to come down to if he could stop the takedown from Brunson.
I can't pick Brunson. I
can't
won't
either.
do it.
I can't either.
I'm picking
I
Jared
refuse to.
Cannoneer by knockout. Come on, boy. Don't let me down, my
too.
guy.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
The
The co-main event of the night, we got Derrick Lewis taking on Tuivasa. I don't care who wins this fight. I love both these guys, honestly.
Yeah, these guys are great. I don't even want to say it because it seems to jinx these things. But we're getting a knockout here, right?
Yeah.
I say this, and everybody agrees with that, and then it's going to be a 5-round decision.
Yeah.
What the Vegas line on that is.
Right. I hope not. I hope we don't get Francis versus Derrick Lewis.
No, me neither. I seriously doubt we will. I think that it just depends on which Derrick Lewis shows up.
Yeah. Well, both these guys like to scrap though, so I feel like it's going to be like there. It doesn't matter what type Derrick Lewis shows up because like if he doesn't show up right, Tuivasa is not going to take it easy on him.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'd like,
But Derrick Lewis before this fight was calling for Stipe, so like he better be locked in.
yeah, because Stipe is a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
Tuivasa.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
This is Ty's opportunity to possibly get into that conversation.
I didn't hear Lewis is calling for the Stipe fight.
Mhm.
I mean, that's dangerous.
It was literally 2 days before
Really?
he signed for this fight. He said he wanted to fight Stipe, and then 2 days later they announced this.
Well, he better go out and smoke Tai Tuivasa then.
Yeah,
You better show him he's at that level.
yeah,
Because, not to be too repetitive, but just like I said, there's levels to this game for Tuivasa too. It's just,
Yeah,
is he up
sure.
there yet?
That's
I
the
mean,
question. Well, he was at one point. Remember, he did get up to the JDS fight. That's kind of where
yeah,
his
yeah.
career went south because he wasn't quite ready. As he like really put himself in the right like mental space and camp and all this stuff because he has done some like different stuff since he had gone on that losing streak. So it'd really be an opportunity for him to show like how much he truly has learned since losing those fights and if he is ready to be in like the upper echelon of the division.
Yeah. I'm picking Derrick Lewis.
We'll take
Knockout.
Ty.
Knockout in the second round.
We'll take Ty and knockout in the second round.
Word. Well, that brings us to the big dog, the $75 fee. King.
The rematch between the last stylebender Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker.
Oh, is this the rematch people were clamoring for? That's debatable.
But was it earned? I do think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's see. We had Whittaker lose his title to Adesanya, and since then he's got a victory over Darren Till. He's got a victory over Jared Cannoneer, we were just talking about, and then he's got the win over Gastelum, which that was a short notice replacement, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For who? Do you remember?
Can't quite remember.
But he's got that. And since then we've seen Israel get the win against Romero, which was pretty criticized, but a victory nonetheless.
Yeah.
Win against Costa.
Which was dominant.
It was very dominant, but you really can't give Adesanya credit there because Costa had been drinking wine the night before, you see. So, yeah.
And then split decision lost to freaking Jan Blachowicz, that was a tough fight for him.
It wasn't a split decision.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. No, I'm just kidding. In my head, it was.
No.
It is. It always.
No, he got dominated in a loss against a much bigger man when he refused to gain weight, and it was tough. But then he came back and gets the win in a title defense against Marvin Vettori.
Yeah,
and now here we are again.
Yeah, that was a beat down too.
But who doesn't like themselves some Robert Whittaker, man? The guy is nice as hell. He's got solid boxing. He's came up from 170
down from. Yeah, it was up from 70. I'm tripping.
Yeah, 85 is higher than 70.
Yeah, sometimes.
You can hit that bowl if you like.
I think I've hit it too many times.
I don't see a path to victory here for him.
Nope. I don't see it either.
It was just sometimes people are just better.
Yeah.
And Israel Adesanya is just better.
Uh-huh.
And I would, if I was betting this, I would definitely put money on Adesanya to get the victory here. Most likely by decision, I would imagine.
I think Izzy knocks him out again.
Think?
Yeah. I just want to kind of just to kind of break it down. Please. In the first round, Izzy hit him with 5 body kicks and 7 of 7 leg kicks, which pretty much just set the knockout up. That's how.
He said 7 of 7 on his leg kick.
Yeah. Hit him with 5 body kicks.
And those are what landed, not what was thrown, right?
Yeah. Well, 7 of 7 is what was landed and thrown, but yeah. And then literally, so that first round, you could tell he was putting the deposit into the bank, getting ready to, Yeah. And then as soon as that second round came along, that he almost finishes him in the first too. I just don't really see how that fight was very competitive. It just seemed like everything Whittaker had, Israel had an answer for. And Whittaker, one thing nobody's talking about as well, Whittaker hasn't fought in 480 days.
That is an extensive layoff.
Yeah. It's the longest of his career.
So that could mean 2 different things, though. What if he's gone and, picked up some new moves? What if he's got a new wrinkle or 2 in his game over the past year?
But it also is never good for someone in the middle of their prime to take a whole year off their career. That's pretty nuts.
It's true. This is true. You know what's interesting is that Robert Whittaker, statistics-wise, actually lands more strikes per minute than Israel Adesanya does.
I'm not surprised by that because the way Robert Whittaker fights is so pressure-based, whereas Izzy tends to sometimes sit back and pick his shots. You know what I mean? Like Izzy has a good pace, but like he does like if you take just think his stats have to be kind of skewed when you talk about having like the Romero fight and then like the Jan fight. Like those two like definitely probably took his average down a bit.
Possibly. He lands 3.94 to Whittaker's 4.68. But not surprisingly, Israel's Adesanya's defense stats are much higher. Strikes absorbed per minute, only 2.59 for Israel, a little over 3 1/3 for Whittaker.
Yeah.
And with no surprise, there's no grappling information on Israel Adesanya. Whittaker doesn't go for much either, like a half a takedown per fight.
Yeah, he has solid grappling though if it comes down to it.
Yeah, he gets like 34% on his takedown accuracy, again to 0 for Adesanya, who's never attempted a takedown in the UFC, has he?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
Actually, he did. Remember, he took down Gastelum, but technically it was a knockdown. Like he hit him and then blasted him pretty much. He took him
Yeah,
down.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, Whittaker, should he lose this fight, is going to be in a bit of a quandary in his career because he's going to have 2 losses to the champion. Sandwiched in between wins over serious contenders. Does he want to stick around and get a 3rd fight?
Yeah.
Or does he look to reinvent himself in a different division?
Where would that be though?
I mean, he used to get down to 170.
Yeah, but he's a much bigger guy since then, and
It's
he's
harder
had
as you get older too.
yeah, and he's had some issues with his health already. I don't think that's a great idea.
No, he can't go. I mean, he's 6 feet tall. He can't go to 205. Izzy could try to pull that off against Jan because he's 6'4" and skinny.
Yeah,
but it just Whittaker's body size doesn't allow him to go up to and be competitive with guys that large.
I mean, he could be competitive, but I just don't know if he could be championship.
Well, by competitive, I didn't mean like per fight, but like he's going to win some and going to lose some. I don't really think you're going to win much of anything at 205.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I got Israel in this fight by knockout.
I got Israel by decision. And then we'll have to see what comes next. The John Jones fight for Adesanya is never going to happen and is so far in the wind.
Yeah.
That's no longer even talked about. And he'll have, kind of
wiped everybody.
Wiped a lot of the division out. No one is really making waves.
Even if Derrick Brunson wins that fight, I just don't really care to see that again. Like I know Derrick Brunson's won like 5 in a row since he lost to Izzy now. Like, but I still just don't really care.
See, that's how quickly that I just forgot about Derrick Brunson. I was only counting Jared Cannoneer because I could care. I don't.
Yeah.
There's no way Brunson beats Adesanya.
Yeah, I don't think
Whittaker has a much better chance of winning the fight than Brunson does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah. Brunson's in that unique situation where if he wins, at some point you just have to give somebody a title shot, especially when there isn't anybody else, despite the fact that it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, true. It's kind of what happened with like Vettori for them to run it back because like Vettori had won a few in the row and like it wasn't that anybody was clamoring for him to rematch Vettori, but at the same time like he had won so many rounds, like kind of could give.
There wasn't anybody else with that great.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what's happening here with Whittaker and possibly Derrick Brunson. You know what I mean? Like it just that's what happens when you clear a division out, though.
And Adesanya's too scared to face a Costa that wasn't on the wine, so we'll never see that rematch either.
Wasn't on the
wine. Folks, listen, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Costa came out with that excuse as to why he got humiliated in that fight. It was he was up late night drinking a bottle or two.
Signed the contract. All right.
It was ridiculous. What a horror! That's one of the worst excuses of all time in MMA. Like you weren't even tough. You weren't like, I drank me a bottle of Jack Daniels, dog. Like I was drinking wine the night before. There's too much wine.
He couldn't sleep, so he had to get himself drunk so he could pass out before having to fight.
No offense to all you wine drinkers out there. It's just not what you typically would picture your big tough fighter guzzling down.
Wine to go to bed. For his big fight.
What a joke.
What a joke, for sure.
The only whine he had was the sound coming out of his mouth. So, don't know what's next for Izzy. But as I mentioned, it's not John Jones. But I do want to talk about that for a minute because, we're getting teased with that fight already. We talked about it last episode that the UFC might start fucking around with Stipe. We were just talking about
Stipe
with
and
John Jones.
Yeah.
There's some rumors afloat.
Yeah. That's what's going to be
already. I think that even just in the week since we last discussed it, I think that's happening.
Yeah.
Because I don't see where we can discuss what's next for either of those fighters, Whittaker or Adesanya. So I think that about wraps up, UFC 271.
Yeah.
And I find the John Jones situation pretty interesting. So we'll continue to monitor that. That winds the episode for the day, my friend.
You're ridiculous.
Think so?
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, but I think that's about it for us today. Thanks for watching, everybody.
We're on all the major podcast outlets, a couple radio stations. We've got gear. We're on Instagram. Where's all that shit located at, Paul?
SWATMA.com, where you can head over there, click the gear button, support the podcast, and just like you said on Instagram, where you can go over there and follow us at SWATMA Podcast.
Thanks.